How's it going, everyone? It's Will with Atlanta X Driver. I know it's been a while, a lot of stuff has been going on, but I'm back. Alright, so I apologize for the kind of boring background, but I'm gonna edit it and kind of put a picture of what I'm doing over here in a little bit, so that's kind of why it's a little bare. But anyway, I've been up to a lot of things. The last thing I did really for this channel was the $1,000 in a week challenge. It was really just to, prove that not only can you make $1,000 a week in Georgia, but kind of like show you my expenses, the breakdown, the cost per mile is what I recommend you break it down in, not like per hour or things like that. But really what I want to make this video about is I tested out SHIPT, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically a grocery delivery service, and just my initial impressions with it, and kind of to give you insight so you can make your own educated decision as to whether SHIPT would be something good to either do with Uber and Lyft, to replace it, that kind of thing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. This right next to me is a snapshot of 2 deliveries I did this past Saturday on November 3rd. And I'd been looking at SHIPT for a while. I sent them, the information in probably way back in, oh gosh, my hair just got all crazy. Way back in August. I think that's when I sent in all my information. Took them about a month to get back to me. It didn't get back to me until September. I wanted to see, because I'm looking for something to add to Uber and Lyft that not only complements it, but I really don't mind waking up early, like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and driving until 11, 12 o'clock. But after that, I come back home and take care of my dog, do my online business, which is going pretty well right now, but I'm still spending all this money trying to scale it up, so I need Uber, Lyft, and now SHIPT to kind of back up the business. So that's why I'm doing it. I'm not like, super mega millionaire or anything. Maybe one day. That's never the goal. Anyway, so, I was thinking, okay, grocery delivery, that's less wear and tear on your car, right? Because you're going to grocery stores that are reasonably close to you. You're not driving while you're in the grocery store, or at least I hope you're not. And the destinations that you're delivering aren't super far away. It's not like airport runs or anything where you're driving 30 miles to make that money. So as you'll see, this breakdown, it doesn't really, I next time I need to do this, I'm gonna do a couple SHIPT videos, just to like put everything together for you. But the history deletes the addresses of not only the grocery store but of the destinations, which I understand the destinations. I mean, we could screenshot it while we're doing it, and that's what I recommend. If you decide to do it, screenshot pretty much everything, just so you have everything on your records, and you can do like a breakdown analysis and help write off mileage with taxes and things like that. So I guess that's like tip number 1, just keep a record of everything. If you're already an Uber and Lyft driver, you should already do this, and you should already know this. So I had to kind of research in my Google Maps history as to where I was going and things like that. I actually did a couple sticky notes. I don't know if you can see that. Just kind of like lay everything out. I was looking at orders that were over $15. Now, if you've never seen or never experienced the app, basically there are a couple ways you can tackle it. What I did is I was like, okay, I know I'm not going to drive Saturday afternoon. I was going to drive Saturday morning, which is what I usually do, and then I ended up driving Saturday night a little bit to get back. I'll get to that later. But I pretty much set aside this time to test this out, and the only enticing deliveries that I saw were in Cumming, Georgia. Now, I live in Roswell. Cumming, Georgia is still kind of far away from me. So the first drive from my place to the first Kroger where I shopped for the first person was 23 miles away, which is pretty far. You know, I don't think I'm going to do that again, to be honest. it's kind of a waste because you've got to factor in the time it takes to get in there, the mileage on your car, and then you've also got to drive back home, you know, unless you want to, I don't know, spend the night up there. But anyway, so the way I've calculated expenses, and I've already done this because I'm an Uber or Lyft driver, so if this is the first time watching your channel, I'm not just like pulling these numbers out of thin air. But per mile, after doing my expense analysis, it cost me 17 cents to drive every mile. So driving 23 miles, it comes out to $3.91, about $4. So right off the bat, it costs that much money just to get to the place. Now this first one was pretty easy. It was, you know, like 20 items, I think, a little less. But it was an interesting experience. So I was like, initially I was like, grocery shopping, how hard could that be? I go grocery shopping every week, but I grocery shop for me. I don't grocery shop for anybody else. I mean, sometimes my roommates will actually, most of the time I'll go with one of my roommates and we'll usually get the same stuff. But everybody's different, you know, depending on if they're a family, depending on, you know, if it's like I don't know. So this one, the first item I look for, I could not find. And I was just like, really? We're going to start off this way? But it was a pretty easy solution. I, you know, would take screenshots of what was like a good substitute. She was looking for this, and I was like, maybe you'd like this instead. Is that okay? Really, you want to over communicate. That's like another huge tip with the person that you're shopping for. Now, the person I was shopping for, she didn't tell me this until I got there because I was texting her the whole time and I was calling her. She was asleep while I was shopping, which is totally fine. Because I covered my bases, you know, texting her and then calling her at the end being like, okay, this is what I got, this is what I couldn't find. So I mean, it all worked out in the end. As you can see, that she did tip me, so that was all good to go. But honestly, it was pretty straightforward. I definitely know like the layout of Kroger a lot better now, at least up there. And that's another thing too. It's like you would think you'd be in one Kroger, you know them all. They're all different. The layouts are all different. Oy. So anyway, that one was easy. Now the second one, So amateur hour all the way on this one. This one took me like 3 hours to complete. And I mean, so the total time from leaving from my place to making the final delivery took almost 5 hours. I left at 2:45 and I ended at 7:35. So to be exact, 4 hours and 50 minutes, which is a lot of time. And if you break that down, that's less than $10 an hour, and that's just terrible. But again, this was my first run, this is my trial run, and now I'm gonna do better. But anyway, I did not plan well. What I should have done is I should have gone to the first Kroger, shopped for both of their groceries at that Kroger, and then made the deliveries separately. Because what ended up happening was I went to the initial Kroger, and then I delivered it. That was 10 minutes away from the Kroger. But then from the first delivery point to the second Kroger was like almost 20 minutes. And I was already running behind. In the SHIPT app, it kind of gives you, like it'll give you the delivery window, which is an hour. But it'll also tell you like an estimated time of how long it takes to shop for whatever the person wants. So the first order I was like, I got this. I was a little slow, but it only took me like 45 minutes, and it like said I should take like an hour and 20. So I was like, okay, the second one I can totally do. Boy, was I wrong. Plus I had no signal in that Kroger. I had to connect to the Wi-Fi, and I was just like, it was just a nightmare. But I got it done. The lady was very, very patient. I was shopping for a family, but I was in contact with the mom. But she was super patient. You know, we worked everything out. There are a couple items I couldn't find, but I let her know every step of the way, and you know, completed the delivery. You know, I totally understand the no tip thing. You know, tips come with, you know, above and beyond service, and I'm a big believer that, you know, no one really owes you anything, so I never really expect to get tips. But I am seeing that tips are they're like the bread and butter of this, because what I'm seeing now is around me here in Roswell, Alpharetta. I'm definitely not going out to Cumming again, except for maybe Saturday, only because, and I'm going to do it right when I go there, but only because I was able to switch back that night, Saturday night, back onto Uber and Lyft, and then make my way back down home and get paid for it. So I, got a ride all the way from Cumming, and then I went down to like Norcross or something. So I was within 15 miles of my place and made $30 coming home. So that in that aspect it worked out. But locally I'm seeing, deliveries of like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to like less than 15. But what I'm finding out is that a lot of these people who are ordering, they're going to tip, $2, $5. I've seen, from my own research, I've seen, upwards of $10 a tip, for big deliveries. I'm sure I would have gotten a $10 tip if I delivered that one on time. So, all in all, this breakdown, we're looking at less than $10 an hour. Now, the final payment was, let's just say it's $41. So after driving with all the expenses, it cost me about $8 to drive around and make all those deliveries. So subtracting that from the 41, that makes it $33. So I didn't lose money, but I definitely wasn't making, I think they advertised like between $15 and $22 an hour. So I definitely wasn't within that range, but that was on me. This was my, trial run. I learned a lot, and I'm definitely not gonna make those mistakes again. I'm gonna plan ahead and do all that stuff. But I'm gonna probably make a tips video after I've done a couple more runs and I've kind of gotten in a groove. Because what I want to do is, I was kind of saying this earlier in the videos, I want to drive in the mornings between like 5 a.m. and 11, 12, probably ending it. Coming home, taking care of my business, taking care of my dog, and then setting up like 1, 2, maybe 3 grocery runs between 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and 5 or 6, maybe later, depending on what I need. Now, traffic's going to be a little bit harder then, so I'd like to finish all the shopping before 4, really, and make sure it's kind of close in my proximity. That way, I can get home by like 5 or 6 at the latest, and then I have the rest of the evening to take care of my online business and do whatever I need to do, and not drive and end up, somewhere way out in the boonies and then have to drive all the way home. Because that's honestly what like messes me up the most. Like driving in the morning, I'll almost always end up somewhere in the city, usually like Buckhead or Midtown at least, and then I'll just be able to drive back home like 10 dead miles, get home in like 20 minutes, and then I'm good to go. But when I go drive out at night, I always end up like way south Atlanta, out in like Dallas, Georgia, out in like way up in Swanee, something crazy like that. Because, in the mornings everybody's going to work, which is usually in the city, and then in the afternoon everybody's either, going home or going out somewhere that's, I don't know, far away from their house, like dinner or something. So that's kind of where I'm at then. And then, of course, combining it with, Saturday nights, maybe even Friday nights, like doing some grocery shopping, kind of expanding out, and then allowing that late night driving surge to either pull me back into the city or just like already be out and ready to, make that night grind money. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. As far as the online business is going, so we did go international back in August. This past weekend I actually did $173 in sales to someone in Australia, which might not sound like a lot, but like I'm super, super excited. Like, so my online business, it's a pop culture apparel brand, and it's called Culture Keep, spelled with a K. I'll put the logo in here somewhere. And right now it's just like selling these items that I buy wholesale from a company called BioWorld with my LLC, and I resell it. Kind of, you can think of us like as a smaller Hot Topic, basically. But kind of what I want to do to differentiate myself from these bigger pop culture retail stores is to create a brand kind of like IGN, or I don't want to say GameStop, but I want to work with local Atlanta talent, whether it's video editors or cosplayers, obviously within that space, but basically just working with a bunch of creatives to do cool stuff, whether it's streaming with gaming, interviewing cosplayers, when we get big enough, interviewing, movie stars for the next big Marvel, DC film, whatever, interview or work with game developers, things like that. So that's kind of where I'm progressing to, but that's like way far down the road. But I definitely don't want to be, just another online store that just sells stuff that's branded and cool. That's just the starting point. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. So obviously right now I can't recommend Shipt because I'm not making. I mean, it was nice to make like an extra $33, and I didn't mind the work. The grocery shopping really wasn't that bad, but I could have made a lot more driving during that 5-hour period. Like I averaged $14 an hour. I mean, that was a Saturday, so I could have done like $16, $17 an hour, made way more during that window. But again, learned a lot. So hopefully in the next Shipt video I make, definitely gonna lay out some tips. Gonna go over, shopping 2 orders at once at the same store, or when you can kind of break it up, do back to back, or you can't really do you can't shop 2 orders at different stores at the same time. That doesn't make sense. But kind of more like advanced stuff that I've seen on YouTube and that I've been researching and kind of wanted to implement. So anyway, I hope you guys found this video helpful. Let me know if you're thinking about Shipt. I think there's a promo code. I'm not going to put it in this video just because I don't want you guys to like, oh, he just wants this for the promo code money, and plus like I can't really recommend it right now. But if you're like a Shipt guru, feel free to like, blow up the comments and be like, no, you should have done this, you should have done this. Because I'm all about like the tips. I prefer constructive criticism that's like with a positive, tone. But if you're like, no, dummy, you should have done this, and this is exactly how you do it, and you have like, a breakdown, I'd be like, okay, cool, snapshot, implement, execute, report, back on YouTube, done, that kind of thing. But anyway, that's it for right now. So I will see you in the next video. Drive safe, everyone. Keep hustling, and peace.